What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another. Really? You guys are gonna stop dancing? But I had the intro all planned out. You're just gonna quit dancing? Right? Okay. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another Oxygen Not Included build video. This one is going to be a sort of a remake on my Petrol factory, but it's going to be a two-part video. We're going to do sort of a redesign on the system because, as a lot of you know, the gold sensor is not really needed anymore. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link in the top right corner over here that you can check it out. But the gold sensor is not really needed because they raised the temperature on the thermal sensors, so we can just use those instead. So we're going to be redesigning that system. But the part I'm most excited about, which this is going to be a two-part series. The part I'm most excited about is going to be part 2, where we over-engineer a cooling system for a sweeper arm and a robo-miner to dig out the metal. I have this idea that's kind of just obnoxiously, like, stupid because you don't need to do it. Like, there's way simpler processes, and it's hard to kind of explain it without giving it away. But basically, I'm just going to over-engineer a cooling system because I think it would be pretty cool to see this kind of in action. So that's going to be part 2. That's the part I'm most excited about. But yeah, I just wanted to chime in and say, if you don't want to watch the whole building process and the redesign process, there's going to be a link in the description, a timestamp you can skip to the very end to see the final build and how it works and all that. Without further ado, let's jump in. Stupid dupes. All right, so what we first need to do is, well, we got to have a heat source, right? So this isn't going to be, we're just going to slap some magma in and pretend that, you know, that's the heat source, and we're not really going to overcomplicate it. Actually, I want to build this sort of in the middle because I want plenty of room to work around. So we'll build it somewhere over here. So let's just say this is my volcano. Obviously, this doesn't look like a volcano, but I know that every single person watching has an imagination. So you're all capable of picturing a volcano here, I think. I believe, you know, I believe that. I truly do. So if you don't have an imagination, you can let me know in the comments below and I will correct myself. And then we're going to need like a door. It's got to be made out of wolframite because wolframite is the best for temperature transfers. Actually, yeah, I think it is. I'm going to stick with it. And we're using insulation, but the final build will not be using insulation. Actually, maybe we shouldn't be using insulation. Maybe we shouldn't be. Perhaps we shouldn't be. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to use insulation just for this part. Okay, so there is our temperature transfer apparatus. All right, the door will close when we want to transfer temperature from this side to this side, and it will open when we want to stop transferring. So if we open this, you can see it's a vacuum. Oh, you can't see it, but it is a vacuum. So it's not actually transferring temperature over here. You can see it's actually cooling down on this side because of the air. So, not now, phone. I'm busy. God. Phones can be such a pain in the butt. Anyway, hold on now. I gotta think. Okay, I'm redesigning this this door system. We're gonna make it one tile long here, but I'm actually gonna do this. So this, I'm not sure. Okay, I'm no genius, guys. Just let me just throw that out there right now. I am no genius, and I don't claim to be. But one thing that I think helps with temperature transfer as far as like a metal tile goes is if it's surrounded. If there's more contact points, then maybe I may just sound like an idiot to some of you. Some of you may be like, dude, this guy's perhaps I can bleep that out. I think I can. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know if this is actually true, but I think more contact points may transfer temperature faster because you're transferring temperature from 1, 2, 3 tiles, right? As opposed to just like 2 or 1. So there's 3 different contact points. It makes sense to me. I don't know. I mean, we may as well make this whole thing metal. So if we put a thermal sensor in the middle, and then we surround it by metal tiles, then we'll have like a little heat battery. And all we need is a little bit of gas. I'm just going to use hydrogen, but it really could be anything. We just need a little bit of gas in this room here. That way the thermal sensor can tell us when to open and close the door, right? Because we want to keep this block at a certain temperature so that we don't overboil the petroleum. And that's all really this door is for. And then, you know, over here we'll have the oil and stuff. So we want it to open when the temperature is above, let's just say like 470. I don't know the exact temperature right now. Petroleum vaporizes at 538. So we actually want to get as close to 538 as we can. That way the transition happens faster. So let's say 510. Let's just do that. We need some way to get the oil out, right? And if we have niobium, then yeah, we could just pump it out. But I'm assuming we don't have niobium here. So we're going to be using a wolframite door, potentially, to sit the oil on top of. We should probably put it right here, right? Yeah. So it heats up as well, and then the oil will sit right there. I like that. That's fine. You know what? Let's make these metal too. It'll look nicer. It's not really necessary, but it'll look nicer. So, you know, aesthetics are important. If you're sitting there and you're like, dude, aesthetics are important. They're important, all right? I don't care who you are. They're important. Liquid vent. So this is where the oil is going to come in at, right? I'm just thinking, like, how much room do we actually need? And we just need enough room for 2 sensors. So this is actually all we really need. Let's not make it out of copper. Not that it's really ever going to get hot, because this should always be a vacuum, but if anything ever does happen, then here's where we decide where the petroleum is going. The output petroleum, which is going to be like 400 degrees or whatever, we have to decide, are we going to heat? Are we going to turn that heat into power via steam turbines, or are we going to use that heat to preheat our incoming oil? And I think I'm going to use it to preheat the incoming oil. I think I have an idea. So the idea is we need a door for the oil to sit on top of, and then that door is going to transfer the heat out. Now, where's it going to transfer it to? It's got to transfer it over to our storage area where we're storing the oil. So come on over here, and then this room where the oil is stored is going to have gas in it. I know this looks wonky, but this is the first iteration, guys. Just bear with me, and I promise things will work out. Steel 200. Ooh, this is something I didn't consider. So I forgot that reservoirs overheat. This makes things complicated. This complicated thing a little more than I thought. So this is what I'm gonna do. I've decided. So we're gonna do this, and we're gonna create like a heat block here. So let's say, I don't know if this is enough room. Do I even need this obsidian? So I guess I don't, because this is gonna be a vacuum. We don't even need this stuff. Hold on. Hold the phone. This is the design process, guys. This is what happens every time. So we got, this could be made out of copper or whatever, really, but I'm just gonna make it out of steel because why not? We don't need it to be this big either. That's what she said. Let's say we just have 2 storages full of oil, and maybe the oil is preheated even. I don't know. And this is all going to be either tungsten, or it could be like hydrogen too. It doesn't have to be tungsten. So what's next? The radiant pipes. Now this is only going to be like 400 something degrees, so we can use gold for this. So the petroleum, right, once it gets transferred, once it gets changed to the petroleum, it's going to drop down to this point and heat up this door, and then, you know, go out over here and heat this stuff up. So we need a temperature sensor right here, so once it drops below a certain temperature, then we can drop it down. We want to have like as much of this as possible covered in radiant pipes. So maybe something like this. Do we radiant pipe that as well? Not really. I don't really want to radiant pipe that, honestly, but the thing is, if I run the pipe through this, it's gonna get hot. So you can see these tiles right here are, well, they're only 160, but what's the pipe? Yeah, so the pipe's heating up. We don't want that. Because if oil sits in this pipe long enough, it could heat up to a point where it transitions into petroleum. I guess I'm a doofus, because we could have done this on the other side. All right. Skip to me swapping this over to this. All right, so that's swapped over there. Let's go ahead and get rid of all this nonsense. It's looking kind of awkward. It's not very aligned. At least not how I would like it. How can I fix this? You know what? We can rearrange it afterward. It's fine. Let's just get it working, right? Let's just get it working. So what we're gonna need is a shut off. I don't remember exactly how all this was a setup, to be honest with you, but I'll figure it out. I mean, have faith in me. And then we have 2 hydro sensors, not made out of copper. So here's our little heat circuit pipe. So basically, oil is going to drop in, get heated up, turn to petroleum. Petroleum is going to drop down, transfer its heat into this door, which is going to transfer its heat into these tiles, which is going to transfer its heat into these radiant pipes, which is going to transfer its heat into the oil passing through them. We're going to preheat the oil coming in, and then yeah, everything should work good. So where does the oil go, or where does the petrol go after this? Boom, temperature drops below a certain point, it opens the door. Yeah, so if it drops, if it's above 270, then this will activate, open the door. No, if it's below. Yeah, this is how it works. I had to think for a second. Automation, man, it always gets me. Okay, 5 seconds on this is probably fine. We'll just leave it there for now. And then the petrol just drops into a, there. So if there's above, I don't know, like 70 kilograms or something, then we can pump the petrol out to Narnia or wherever it's going. All right, so that's the ugly system right now. Don't worry, we'll rebuild it to make it look nice and pretty. We'll maybe try to get the magma and the storage on the same side. Yeah, we could run the pipe across this and then over. So I could have done that. What? I'll redesign it towards the end. Let's just make sure we've got it working, right? All right, let's try and figure this automation out again. Okay, there we go. Everything is set up. Okay, so let me reiterate how this works. I did do it in my last video, but in the old petroleum video, but we'll go ahead and go over it again. So the way it works in here is when oil first starts to heat up to petroleum, it doesn't convert all at once. So there's going to be a pool of oil, and then on top of that, there's going to be some petroleum. So it's going to raise up to this second sensor. And when that happens, it's going to send a signal over here, triggering this, sending an active signal to here, and activating one side of the AND gate. And this memory toggle is not going to untrigger until we reset it with this line here, which we'll go into in a sec. And then the other side of the AND gate is going to trigger when there's no more liquid in here. So this is going to be above 0. So when it goes up, it's going to activate. And then once the petroleum fully converts, it's going to drop back down because it's not going to be stacked on top of oil. And at that point, this is going to send a negative signal going into this NOT gate. So we set it when it's negative, the NOT gate will turn it into a positive. So that'll be 2 positive sides on the AND gate. That'll trigger this door to open because the petroleum has fully converted. And then the petroleum will drop back down. And then once this is below, I don't remember what I had it set at, but let's just say 40. So once it's below this certain amount, I might have to tweak this later. Once it's below a certain amount, it will trigger the reset on both this and this, closing this door and resetting the whole system. And then also we need a automation signal going up to this. Wait, no, the bottom one going up to that. There we go. Actually, I think we need a filter as well. So when we're not sensing oil in the bottom here, then we'll open the valve and let more oil in, essentially is what that's for. And I think this thing is just set at like 10 seconds or something. It doesn't really matter as long as it's just long enough for the door to close before we drop more oil in. So it's essentially the exact same system as my old petroleum thing. The only difference is that we're going to be using the petroleum to preheat the incoming oil rather than run turbines. And my hope behind that is that the outgoing petroleum will cool down more. So we'll have like a temperature that's a little more manageable, maybe like 100 degrees or so. But that's asking for a lot. So I don't know if that's going to be the case, because oil starts out at like 70 or something down in the so 82 degrees, 70. So I guess it depends what it's coming out of. I wonder what these output at. It's not going to tell me, but I wonder if the what's it called? The oil well here outputs the oil at whatever temperature it is. You know, like other similar like other machinery outputs polluted, like a petroleum generator will output water at whatever temperature the petroleum generator is, right? I wonder if it's the same for an oil well. And I think that's fine. That's literally all we need. We just need some power to this. We don't need to power the doors. It is nice, but I'm not going to bother, I don't think. You know what? On second thought, I'm going to power the doors. Because... never mind. I'm not going to. Let's just keep it. I'm pretty indecisive at times, guys. If you haven't noticed. We're now pumping oil for the first time. Now, obviously, it's not going to be preheated because, well, there's no petroleum here to preheat. Did I set this right? 270. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so you can see the system in action. Oh, did I set all this? Yeah, everything is set correctly. Okay, so we're just waiting for the temperature to transfer and then for this to fully convert to petroleum here. And maybe this should be a little hotter than 510. See, there's the full conversion. Door opens, drops down, oil comes back in here. Wait, was it? Dang, that happened quick. 182-degree petroleum. Maybe we should wait till it's like 150. Let's just try that. How is this overheating? Oh, I'm a doofus. That's right. It's a vacuum. So we've got quite a bit of a run here. So we're going to drip a little more oil than is necessary. Let's just say 10. As soon as there's 10 kilograms, because by that time we're already going to be pumping like 40 or 50 in. All right, so right now the tiles are right around 180, and it looks like they're going up. So you can see it's doing a pretty good job at preheating. Now we've just added a little more oil in here, so let's see if the temperature is like 160. I don't know if this will ever cool down to 120 before more oil or more petrol is dropped in, heating this up even more. Perhaps we should have that middle chamber I had before in the old system to kind of hold it and wait for this stuff to cool down. I think I'm going to need it. If you watch the old system, then you know that this is pretty much the same thing. We're just using the petrol to preheat the oil, which I mentioned in the beginning. I'm pretty sure I said it was going to be pretty much the exact same, aside from the cooling system, which is going to be part 2 of this video. So yeah, I think we're pretty much done in the design process. There wasn't a whole lot of twinking. That's a new one. Never said that before. There wasn't a whole lot of tweaking to do. So it's pretty much the same as that video, but I think that's going to be kind of it for the design process. So now my favorite part of the editing, cue the time lapse. All right, well, I think that is the compacted, neat-looking system completed. Obviously, I could tweak this over time, you know, and make small adjustments, but that's going to happen over weeks and months and, you know, through testing and things that I find that might not work out. But this is essentially the system. Here's our little radiator heat block here. Here's our little additional chamber to hold the petrol so that we're not joining the hot petrol with the cold petrol. Now we did connect this door to the heat block as well, or the radiator block as well, so that the petrol sitting up here can still transfer its heat over even while this stuff down here is cooling. Now this may have to change. My hope is that the pipe, the cold oil coming in is here first, so this area of the block is going to be colder than this. Therefore, this oil will still, or this petrol will still cool down even while this hot stuff is dumping heat into the radiator block here. But we might have to remove the connection between this door and the radiator block. I don't know. We'll just have to test it and find out. I did also squeeze the automation into a much uglier format, I guess. It's not very pretty to look at, but it's crammed into kind of the small space that I could. There might be a way to cram it even into an even a smaller space, but you know, this, I felt like that's pretty good. And we have a bunch of, you know, sort of blocks over here that are unnecessary, but I think builds look a lot nicer, you know, when they're nice and square. So that's why I do that. If you don't like that, then, you know, just don't do it. You don't have to do that. So anyway, that's going to be the final system, I think. And I mean, obviously we have to give it a try, right? All right, so system should be technically running. This door has to be open by default. So this bottom system down here, I set up kind of wrong. We only want this door closed if there's liquid down here. And all we should really have to do is add a filter here. So we only want this door to open. As long as there's hot liquid right here on this sensor, this door will not open. And once the liquid drops below the 150 mark and drops down to here, 10 seconds after that, then the door will open, dropping any more liquid down. And by that time, this door should have already closed. You know, there's probably going to be like a temperature a balanced temperature, right? Where the incoming oil is going to take as much heat as it can from the outgoing petrol. And then at that point, it just can't take anymore. Yeah, so this system, when the temperature goes below 165, then we trigger the active port of a memory toggle, opening this door, dropping the petrol down. We also go into a filter gate, which is set to 10 seconds. So 10 seconds, well, actually this could be like 7. The 7 seconds after the active point triggers opening the door, it will then reset the memory toggle, closing the door. At the same time, this filter gate will be ticking down from 12 seconds to open this door and let more petrol down. The temperatures here for this thermosensor, this is going to have to be tweaked quite a bit, I imagine. And like I said, I'm probably going to have to remove the connection from this door. So let's just do this now. All right, so we're no longer transferring the temperature from this top door over, and that's going to allow this to cool a lot quicker. So we're going to, you know, not build up a bunch of petroleum right here, which is what's happening right now. 350 kilograms. Now, we've already dumped quite a bit of heat into these metal tiles, and perhaps we're not actually transferring fast enough. What if we do this? Make this a metal tile as well. May actually be able to transfer the heat a little bit quicker. Because the wolframite doors are pretty slow as far as transferring heat goes compared to tungsten tiles. But wolframite is the best as far as a door goes. So if we can use a metal tile to transfer the heat, that's much better. All right, let's see it run now. So metal tiles are down to about 100 degrees. That's pretty close to the incoming temperature of the oil. There we go, shut that door, let the petrol start to cool down. What do we have this set to? 165 degrees. So our outgoing petrol is going to be 165 degrees. Well, that's the target. Honestly, I'm wondering if this is even worth it. I'm wondering if, because, I mean, look at the petrol, right? It takes it a while to get below the 165 that we're looking for here. And the new stuff coming in, there's going to be even more of it because it's been building up. So it's going to take even longer, which means more is going to build up until, you know, the next drop up here. I think I'd much rather use the outgoing metal that gets swept up to preheat the oil. We'll also use that outgoing metal to run a turbine though, because I don't think the oil is going to get even close to cooling it down. The whole point of this system was to try and get it colder than the steam turbines get it, and that's not what happened. So I'm kind of on the fence about whether or not I want to preheat the oil with the petrol. But still, I think it was a good experiment to kind of you know, figure out what I want to do as far as the next petrol system that I'm going to set up. Although I don't think I'll be, like I said, I'm not going to be preheating with the petrol. It's just too slow in my opinion. Maybe I'm doing something wrong and there's a better way to do this. You can let me know in the comments if there is, but I think it's better just to use this petrol to run turbines rather than try and preheat. And then with the outgoing metal from the volcano, we'll use that to preheat the oil, the incoming oil. And we'll have it very controlled. You know, we'll have doors so it shuts off if it gets too hot and stuff. So that'll be that system. I'll make the changes and include that when I do part 2 of this video, where I set up the obnoxiously over-engineered cooling system that I'm gonna do for the sweeper arm and things. But that's gonna be the end of this video. So thank you for watching. I appreciate it, and I'm nearing 300 subs. I may be there already. I don't know when this is gonna be released, but thank you so much to everybody who subbed, commented, liked the video, like interacted at all. Thank you so much. It means a lot to me. So thank you guys. Thank you. I'm just gonna. It's getting awkward at this point. I'm just saying thank you, and I don't know what else to say. So thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.